Hey Throners, it's Upto The Hype here. Happy Tuesday. The past few videos on the channel have been mainly focused on the Night King's target and what he wants. But of course, breaking down the Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer, discussing the huge Battle of Winterfell in Episode 3 of Season 8 has been a blast. In this video, I want to dive more deeply into what may happen in Episode 5 of Season 8. Will we see the Cleganebowl, the Death of Cersei Lannister, the Battle of Blackwater 2.0, and the Dance of Dragons 2.0? Let's discuss it all in this Hype, a Game of Thrones Season 8 Endgame Theory video. The Game of Thrones Season 8 trailer focused mostly on the Battle of Winterfell, which will be featured in Episode 3 of the season. And it makes a lot of sense to not include too much in the first trailer for Season 8 so that we're not spoiling the ending of what could be the best season of television ever. A few things that we already know about Episode 3 is that it's going to have a unique formula in the way it tells its story, by following multiple points split up over multiple different characters in multiple different sections of Winterfell as the battle with the Army of the Dead and the Night King takes place. I don't think it's a stretch to suggest that if we're getting the Battle of Winterfell in Episode 3, that the side of the living could be suffering a major defeat, similar to what we saw at Hardhome in Season 5. Which means we have to ask the question. If they do lose the Battle of Winterfell, how far south will the Night King and the White Walkers get in Westeros? I believe that we will not only see a battle of the God's Eye in the heart of the Isle of Faces, but also a huge battle in King's Landing. Wouldn't it be absolutely insane if we saw the Battle of Blackwater 2.0 between Theon and Euron, the Golden Company doing battle with Jon and Dany's forces in the streets of King's Landing, the Cleganebowl, the end of Cersei Lannister, a Dance of Dragons 2.0, and obviously the final showdown between Jon Snow and the Night King, all in the same episode? If Episode 3 of this season is only an hour long, completely focusing on the North, then perhaps the 80 minutes we see in Episode 5 will be featuring all of the stuff that happens in the South. There's so many plot points that we have yet to see a resolution to, including Sandor Clegane finally dealing with the hatred for his brother, and Cersei Lannister going full Mad Queen, closing the gates of King's Landing, planning to burn it all to the ground with wildfire. We can also expect to see Jaime, Arya, Brienne, and others team up to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, while I don't think Jaime Lannister will die in the Battle of Winterfell, but if Jaime does die earlier in the season protecting one of the Stark girls, or perhaps Bran Stark, and he isn't the one to kill Cersei Lannister, wouldn't it be fitting if Brienne of Tarth becomes a Queenslayer, coming full circle, fully understanding the sacrifice that Jaime had to make by killing the Mad King? I know that most people think that Jaime could be the Valonqar, also Tyrion or Arya, and I know some people have also suggested Euron Greyjoy, but I will be doing a video sometime this week explaining why Brienne of Tarth could be the Valonqar. We could also see Arya Stark in this scenario cross another name off her list and a David versus Goliath moment, with her and Sandor Clegane fighting the Mountain side by side so they can remove Cersei from the Iron Throne. And we know that in order to get to Cersei, someone is going to have to kill the Mountain. So either way, it's going to be frickin' epic. One of the other things that I think we could be seeing in Episode 5 is the Battle of Blackwater 2.0 with the Greyjoys. We know that Euron has Yara captive and that Jon Snow empowered Theon in Season 7 to make his own choices and decide his own destiny. I can't help but think that the awesome sea battle that we got early on in Season 7 was only a setup for something greater in Game of Thrones Season 8. And we also have to remember that history likes to repeat itself within A Song of Ice and Fire, so getting another Battle of Blackwater with a different outcome would add to the level of intensity and chaos that we would be experiencing in this episode. The Golden Company also poses an interesting threat in Game of Thrones Season 8 with the introduction of Harry Strickland and the 10,000 sellswords that will be siding with Cersei Lannister and Euron Greyjoy. Perhaps in order to get to Cersei, we will have an epic battle between the Dothraki, the Unsullied, and the remaining Knights of the Vale in the streets of King's Landing as Jon and Dany's forces race against the clock to evacuate King's Landing as the Army of the Dead approaches. And finally, I don't think I could put out this video without talking about Jon Snow riding a dragon and taking on the Night King with Daenerys. There's a 100% chance we see dragon on dragon action. And I think there's a pretty big possibility that all of the dragons die in the end, but one thing I could see happening is Drogon melting Viserion's head, giving him a crown of molten fire, much like Viserys Targaryen's death with the crown of molten gold from Khal Drogo that we saw in episode 6 of season 1. Could we see the final battle between Jon and the Night King also? And what do you think this episode will be titled? I personally think that episode 5 will be titled A Song of Ice and Fire, but I would love to hear all of your thoughts in the comment section and your best theories for what's going to happen in this episode. In the next video, I want to either discuss Brienne of Tarth being the Valancourt theory, Sansa Stark's role in Season 8, or how Daenerys and Jon Snow may melt down the Iron Throne in the very last episode of the series. Let me know which you would prefer to see in the next video in the comment section. And of course, a big thank you to all of the hype bringers on Patreon who support this channel. Let's show some hype and love for our Super PAC patron members of the day. Nancy Talkstein, the Mother of Blankets, Rick Hoppy, the Maester of Coffee, and Maura Lee, the High Priestess of Hype and Love. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you all in the next video. Hype and Love.